Hello. I hope you guys are safe and you're doing well, you and yours. I'm safe right here, so I gotta ask. Yes, introduction. In case you're joining for the very first time, this is Inspired by Others, and I am Olawumi Heavens. Yep, event veteran and mediapreneur. Do you know I almost said I'm back? I just got so used to saying that when I'm doing my event terminologies that anytime I introduce myself, I almost go that route. Don't mind me. Do not mind me, guys. Inspired by Others is a platform where we just bring different people doing what they love doing, just to share with us. It can be entertainment, it can be business, just people who are out there just doing, just being themselves and doing their own things and doing it well. And they come to share their stories on this platform because while you're, listening to someone's story, you can pick a thing or two. You can get encouraged. I was saying it, I think, at the last interview with Freke, I was talking about the fact that people can feel so isolated. You can feel so isolated, especially in a season like this. Even though there's movement, you can just feel like you're the only one with this issue, and the mind is a battlefield. If you lose the battle there, then that's it's almost like when people lose their light. You're in a dark place and then the light totally goes off. You feel like, wow, maybe you're the only one there, or you feel like, wow, I can't find my way forward. Then where do I go from here? And that's what happens to a lot of us. And the fact is, people go through stuff. There are other people who are in worse predicaments. Yoruba people will say, it means that, literally translated, your father's farm is bigger than another person's own. But that only happens, or you feel like that's true, when you've not visited some other person's farm. The same thing as, it's always greener on the other side. And Inspired by Others today, I am super excited. Super, super excited. I have a fantastic and phenomenal woman that will be joining me. I know she's online and she's probably trying to, connect with me because network has a way of doing its own thing. I don't know if it's the algorithm or something like that. But her name is TEWA ONASANYA. That woman is fantastic. She is the founder of Eloy Awards. The Eloy Awards Foundation, every year people, you get dressed, you want to go there. I can't remember if it was 2014 or I think it was 2014 or 14. I was nominated in a category, TV presenter of the year, and I was super excited. Like, going there, you see everybody is there. Everybody that is anybody in the media, in business, all the women doing their thing, and rocking at it are there. And it's amazing that the foundation, she started it. It's hers. She's the founder. And also the Exquisite magazine. If you've seen that magazine, if you haven't seen it, I'm like, okay, are you sure you're here? Because it's, you can get it not just in print, but it's also online. So I hope that you've had access to that. If you haven't, you need to go and Google her. She's a fantastic woman. And okay, let me try to see. Let's see. And have her join. I hope it's not network issues. Okay, let's just hope that she can see me, because I know she's that kind of person before 6. So let's see if she can join. She's probably sending me a message saying, okay, she can see me, she's here. What did I say? I think it's just network or something. She's already here. About this one, like, oh yes, I said I might just share my experience meeting her for the first time. I don't know. Hey, finally
you can see me.
Yes, I'm so excited. I was like, oh, am I going to be conversing with myself and not see your pretty face?
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus.
I know, right?
How are you doing?
How are you? So good to see you.
Same here. Thank God for technology.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, I hope it's not dark.
No, it's not.
I'm bright enough, yeah?
Yeah, you're bright enough. I can see you. I think it's basically maybe network and the algorithm and everything just works in a funny kind of way. Mazi, thanks for joining. Oh, okay. So let me go ahead and ask questions because I'm already super
Yes,
excited.
let's get comfortable.
Oh, I said I was going to share something. Let me share it quickly before I even ask you any questions. So, guys, because I'm going to save this, I have to save it. Guys, when I met her, I think I was going to interview her on my show Red Carpet Extra some years ago. In fact, I wrote 7 years. I'm not sure if it's not more than 7 years because time just flies and you assume that it's not that long until you see your reposts and they're like, oh my God. And I met her on the set and I was supposed to do an interview and we were talking. I can't remember if it was before or after the interview, but we got talking and I was like, oh, Exquisite Magazine. I had an idea for a magazine. I should even cover my face right now. I had an idea for a magazine and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how she does it. And she kept encouraging me so much so that some kind of like a boldness just came. I was like, Laomi, you can do this. Now, some people ask me, where's the magazine? I wrote something on my WhatsApp. I was like, this is the reason why this magazine is going to come back this year. I said, because of what TEWA would say. If I tell her, you know what, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. Guys, it's not an easy thing. Man, it's a lot of work. Like, I think that I don't understand. It's a lot of work. So now that I've said my bit, and after that, we met even after that, and so many things happened that I will be sharing this. And maybe when I release what I need to release, and I can share the story behind the scenes. But I'm like, wow, this woman is phenomenal. How she does it, I have no idea.
Thank God.
Thank God. Maddie, thank you so much.
You did go for it, though. You did go for it. Because remember, we had a photo shoot. You did start, but it's just, you're gonna, keep the ante up.
Life just happens, and you're like,
yes.
Those parts of life, you say, who sent me? Okay, so let me go back to my guest. TEWA ONASANYA. So I'm going to ask you this. I know some of like a part of it, but I'm going to just pretend I don't know anything. Like, how did this whole thing start? How did this whole thing start for you? Because I always say that there are like two sets of people. People who just maybe they were giving birth to, by the time they were 2 or 3, they were already doing what they're doing now. Like they're like, oh, I was singing, like I was singing, I was in front of the camera, and the rest is history. And there's some people who, no, they either go and study banking and finance and then decide, you know what, I'm just going to be dancing. So which one are you? How did it start for you?
You know what? With you saying that, I would say that from a very young age, I kind of like knew what I wanted to do in terms of I wanted to help people. I wanted to be somebody where people can come to, I can nurture them, I can, support them, have compassion on them, things like that. So I suppose I always knew that because from when I was young, I always said that I wanted to be a doctor. And my mom would say, why do you want to be a doctor? I was like, because I want to take care of people. And then when she's ill or anything, I'll put my hand on her head. I would pray for her. I would say that I want to be a doctor so I can take care of her. So I suppose that has been in me for so long because I do that now, wanting to, be that support structure for people. And another thing that I was doing from when I was young, from about maybe age 10 or 11, was writing. So I loved reading. I read a lot, storybooks. I mean, all the holidays were reading something. When we get presents, it's a book, which I'm excited about. So I'm always reading and writing. So I guess all of this started from a very young age, which, up until now, this is who I am. So yes, I would say it started from a young age. And thankfully, I would say, because in my 20s was when I realized what I really, really wanted to do. Instead, because I have a degree in pharmacology, which is way off from what I do now. Exactly. And the reason I have a degree in pharmacology is because I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't get the A-level grades to go into medicine. So I thought, okay, you know what, go into a medical field degree, and then after the first year, go into, go in for medicine. But when I started pharmacology, I started to like it. It's 3 years compared to medicine that was 5 years. I'm like, might as well stick with this. And that's how we got here today.
Now you do a lot of things. I mentioned You know, you're the founder of Eloy Awards Foundation, Exquisite Magazine. But do you introduce yourself the way you want to be known? Because I know when you meet creative people, there's always sides to them. We might not want to say everything because it's like, okay, so like how many things do you do? But please go.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So this is me. Hello, everybody. My name is TEWA ONASANYA. I am an entrepreneur and a mindset stylist. I transform people's life by the renewal of their minds through my magazine called Exquisite Magazine, a fashion and lifestyle magazine for the unlimited woman. I transform lives by celebrating and empowering women through the Eloy Awards and conference. I transform lives by being a mindset stylist, helping people to realize that their dreams are possible by the renewal of their minds. My whole aim is to be able to impact life, make a huge income, and influence a positive change.
Like, that's an elevator pitch right there, guys. You need to learn from a pro. And believe me, most of, like, a lot of times, like on your page, I just go there and I'm like, your affirmations, and like you say, because sometimes you can take them for granted. You just assume, because you can actually be a very confident person and then go through a patch and then you realize that you've lost a bit of yourself, and then you go to the affirmation and you're telling yourself, you know, I'm valuable. You're telling yourself, you know, the world needs me. And it might look like simple things, but they're really not simple things, because you need to tell yourself if nobody's telling you.
Exactly.
That you invest in yourself. So I really love that part of you. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yes, it's really a big part of who I am. And it's, you know, it's saying affirmations is a big part of what we should all be doing, because every single day we are constantly, you know, saying negative stuff to ourselves and also letting other people say negative stuff to our, you know, into our lives. But the thing is, if you want to live the life you want, you need to be able to talk yourself into whatever it is you want to do. You know, just like the magazine that you're gonna start again this year, you need to speak to yourself that you can do it. You need to, you know, if your heart desires it, you need to speak to yourself and, you know, convince yourself. Because if you can't convince yourself, you're not going to convince other people, and nobody's going to do that convincing for you. So when you say affirmations to yourself and you say it over and over again, I always say this to people, that you can't say affirmations once and leave it. It's a lifetime thing. You have to keep saying it to yourself over and over again, because as you are, you know, as you are going over one mountain, you need to build up another new kind of strength to be able to go past another mountain. So you need to be saying it over and over again to yourself. Hershey Design is saying, my dreams are valid. You say that to yourself as often as possible. My dreams are valid. I am valuable. When you start to say it to yourself, then you start to believe it. And then when you go to places, when you go out, when people see you, you exude that value, that confidence, because you've been saying it to yourself, and you're starting to embody it. I use this as an example. When you're speaking to children and you say positive things to children, do you not see that they light up and they, you know, and they want to do better? Yeah, we should speak to ourselves lovingly and caringly, just like you would speak to a child. Speak to yourself that way. I call it, you know, self-talk. Speak to yourself that way, and you will see that things will start changing for you.
Yeah. Okay, let me just quickly go through this before we continue. Okay, the skincare fair, I see you. Yes, boss. Oh, NPC event, I see you. Thank you, sis, for joining. Okay, Mazi says, Ola, please save this as I'm driving on the highway, so I'm just listening. I can't type questions much, so please save it. I will save it.
That's okay.
Nice. Mazi, in fact, there was a day he sent a message. There was a tornado warning where he was, and he was like, you know what, I have to go up now. When I get home, I'll connect this, that. Oh wow, he's just when I
dedicated fan. I love that.
Yeah, so fantastic. Now I want to ask you this. You said the fact that, okay, you can do it, but I'm going to take you back to when you started. I don't know which started first, the magazine or the awards. Which one started first?
Oh, I forgot to mention the cervical cancer awareness and prevention that we do as well.
Please go ahead, mention it before I now take. this question.
Yes. So I also transform people's lives through our foundation, the IMAC Foundation, which is all about preventing cervical cancer and raising awareness for cervical cancer and free screening.
Yes. Okay. Now, with that, I'm going to ask you, which one came first, the magazine or the award?
The magazine. The magazine is going to be 17 years old in September.
Ooh! Oh my God. I bow down. Well, okay, I didn't know that part, guys. Now, I want to ask you, why did you start it? Why? As in, what was at the back of your mind when you started that? And then what headspace were you in when you started that?
Right. Okay, so remember I said earlier that I'm a pharmacology graduate. So I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry. I lived in England. I still partly live in England. So one day I went to, and where I lived was the outskirts of London, Essex. So one day I went shopping, grocery shopping, bought all the stuff that I wanted to buy. And then I wanted to buy my dose of magazines because I love reading. Remember I said that earlier. So I was picking all the magazines off the rack, all the mainstream magazines. And all of a sudden I realized that, hold on a minute, I'm always buying all these magazines. There aren't that many magazines for Black people. And then I'm like, wow. So that means for me to, and then at that time, there were only about 3 magazines for Black people. So I said to myself, okay, so I'm going to have to go into London to be able to get, one magazine. And the ones they had were for hair and beauty. So nothing, lifestyle-y kind of thing. And I'm like, wow. So I left it, bought the magazines. And then on my drive home, I just thought to myself, okay, you love writing, you love fashion. Instead of complaining about it, why don't you do something about it? Literally, I tell you no lie. Those were the words that I spoke to myself in my mind. Instead of complaining about it, do something about it. And I'm like, I can write. I love fashion. That's what I was doing on my drive home. And when I got home, so I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry. I also dabbled into selling Mary Kay products. So I met this lady on my Mary Kay journey. I think Mary Kay was probably about for 2 months or something. On my Mary Kay journey, I met this lady whose husband is a graphic artist. So when I got home, I picked up the phone and called her. And I said, can I please speak to your husband? She's like, really, what's happening? I'm like, can I please speak to him? And she's like, okay. So I spoke to him. So she gave the phone to him. And I'm like, listen, I have an idea. I want to start a magazine. What is it going to take for me to do 1 million copies, 100 pages? Exactly. And he was like, hold on, madam, calm down. Come back to earth. You just don't start like that. First of all, you have to do a pilot. You have to test the waters. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Bearing in mind, I'm a science student, science background. So what I had to do was now started doing research. And guess what? One day I went into W.H. Smith. And guess what book I found? How to Start a Magazine. Wow. Real life. No joke. I still have the book till today. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So thinking about it now, when I started my mindset journey in 2012, I realized that immediately I made a decision about starting that magazine. Everything I needed was coming into play because I knew a graphic artist. And then a lot of my friends who loved writing were like, yeah, I'm going to write for you for free. Oh yeah, I don't mind writing for you and things like that. So everybody came into play. So really and truly, when you've made that decision to go for your dreams or to go for whatever it is you're thinking of, that idea, the universe will conspire to make it happen for you. So that's how Exquisite Magazine started. And obviously I wanted it to have the fashion, the fashion theme to it, but in the middle of it, make it aspirational and inspirational as well. So when people pick up a copy, they're looking at these nice, lovely things, and they're aspiring to be better, and also reading things that are interesting and informative as well. So further down the line is when the Eloy Award started. Came back to Nigeria, deciding to go back and forth. I realized that there were so many award ceremony for men, none for women. That's how the Eloy Award started. And then we had this discussion, and we thought, since we're a magazine that focuses on women anyway, who else should do an award ceremony to celebrate and empower women apart from us? That's how the Eloy started. And then with the cervical cancer, I realized that in Nigeria, a lot of people don't know about cervical cancer. Cervical cancer kills one woman every hour in Nigeria, a form of cancer that is 100% preventable. I think it's unacceptable. My team thinks that, they all think it's unacceptable. That's how the IMAC Foundation started.
Wow. This is amazing. Like, see the need, take the lead. Instead of just sitting back and saying, let someone else do it. It might just be, it might just be calling your name. Maybe that's your niche. That's why you're constantly, rolling some ideas in your mind. Why are you the one noticing that particular thing? You should think about it.
I know, right? Exactly.
But now it sounds so easy. Like, but guys, if you are just joining us, I said something earlier on that, after she encouraged me, after she pushed me, and she was like, allow me, you can do it. I did the Ola magazine. I think I did maybe like 3 editions, and I was like, guys, life was happening. But how this you've been here over a decade. This magazine has been there. Yes. How has it been? How have you sustained this? Like, and then what are have you ever had a time where it was like, oh my God, should we discontinue? And then how did you stay in there? Okay, let me take this comment before you even say anything. Okay, thank you, J Pearl. Okay, thank you. She said it's something to think about. Then Mazi has given you a name. The lioness yourself. I now know what this is that Moski has done to you, Mazi. Okay, so I'll give you a chance to say, how do you stay, and how are you staying in the market for this long? And then what were some of the challenges that almost turned you back, and how did you overcome them? That's like 3 questions in one, because I'm just
the number one thing I'm gonna say is that it's the grace of God. Because seriously, there have been times where I have cried my eyes out. There was a particular year I would never forget, 2006, we did not print 1 copy of Exquisite magazine. There have been times where, it's been unbelievably stressful in terms of, selling adverts or getting the magazines out there. There were times where it's been so stressful, and I've thought, can I give this up? Should I give this up? And every time I think, should I give this up? I'm like, why should I give this up? But this is what I love doing. This is what I love waking up to every single day. Why should I give it up? Why should I give into challenges? Why? So I always say to myself that, there must be a reason why I'm going through something. And it's for me to be able to grow and be able to tell that story. There have been times that I've really wanted to give up. But at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is what I love doing. I'm driven by the passion, which I realized further down the line that the passion alone was not going to make my business survive. Because at the beginning, remember, I'm a science student, pharmacology degree, nothing to do with mass comm, nothing to do with journalism, nothing to do with business, running a business. I'm just all about, is this medicine going to work with that, for that disease? So after a while, I realized that my passion alone was not going to keep the magazine alive. I needed to run it as a business. I needed to put structures in place. I needed to also get other people to kind of like, the other people that have skills that I don't have, because obviously I can't do it alone. So there have been times where I've thought, let's forget this. But at the back of my mind, I'm like, I can't really forget this, because I've put every single thing in it, and I strongly believe in it. And one thing that I would say to everybody is, even when the challenges come, if you strongly believe in your vision, if you strongly believe in what you are doing, let that be the fuel that propels you forward. Because at the end of the day, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. In 2006, we couldn't print a copy because I had exhausted all my savings, exhausted my husband's savings, printing this magazine without money coming in. Bear in mind that I started the magazine in September 2003. So 3 years we've been running back and forth, no income coming in. And when I started the magazine, I got all excited. Remember that I spoke to the graphic artist, my friend, saying I wanted to do 1 million copies. We didn't do 1 million copies. But then again, if you lived in London then, if you went to Liverpool Street Station, going up the escalator, you would see the adverts of Exquisite magazine. If you went to Oxford Street, going up the underground at Oxford Street, you would see it. So we spent a lot of money doing adverts and going onto television and doing that. So by the end of the 3rd year, money wasn't coming in and we've spent a lot. And I'm like, okay, I think now is the time that we need to know that this is not a hobby anymore. This is a business, and it has to be run as a business. So I'm giving everyone, if you're starting out in business now, I'm giving you like an expo into starting a business. Put a structure in place, because the passion alone is not gonna drive it. I can remember this particular day, my magazines were stuck at the printers. I sat on the floor in my balcony crying, bawling my eyes out. Saying, oh God, help me, what am I gonna do, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, at the end of the day, something always gives. So you just have to keep pushing, and don't give up. And look at us, 17 years on.
That's almost, I mean, but you're right. You're really right. Because I remember, I think maybe I can't remember how many years ago, as my 7th year in event planning. This year makes 18 years. And I remember saying, you know what, I don't even think I'm an event planner. After planning events and having people say, oh, it's fantastic, after flying to different places, I think I'd not planned outside Nigeria at that time. And I remember telling someone, I can never forget, because I think God sent her to me. I can never forget. I told her, you know what, I think I'm just not going to do events anymore. And she was, when I started events, she was one of my hostesses. And I kept telling her, you know what, I see an event planner in you. She's like, oh no, I'm a lawyer. I'm like, no, you're an event planner. And sometimes I forget, and I tell her again, have I ever told you that you're like an event planner? And she ended up doing events, and she told me something. She said, sis, if you leave event planning, then we should all retire. And
can you imagine?
You won't believe it. That was the word that sent me back. I won't be saying, oh, I've been here for 18 years now. I would have left at year 7. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, let's talk about your awards. Award ceremony. Guys, I don't think women don't like to do things that easy, especially this woman right here. Because if you have ever gone for the Eloy Awards, it takes a lot. I told you I was nominated, which I still proudly flaunt, and one day I'm going to win.
Amen. You were nominated. Can you imagine? I forgot.
Yes. I think 2014 TV Presenter of the Year. I was so sad, especially when I saw them. Okay, Makiwa, those people I saw, at various stations. I was like, oh my God, and that really encouraged me in media.
Yes, nice.
Thank you. And guys, she doesn't do, as in she has the the nominees, events. I do events, so I understand. She does the pre-event, she sends out the invites and all those things. In fact, the first 2 years, how was it like doing it and having people come together? Because you have to have a huge array of people come together, and it's not like we're paying to get in. You understand?
No. Did you say the first 2 years? You should say the first 5-10 years.
Woo! Okay, let's do this.
Because it takes a whole village. It takes a whole village, and it takes every single thing. So every end of the year, December, I just want to unwind and just relax, because all through the year I have been, working hard. It takes a whole lot. It takes a lot. But like I said earlier, passion, and then being dedicated to the cause. I can't start something. As soon as I say it out to somebody, even one person, I feel obligated to do it. That's the kind of person I am. So if I want to catch myself in anything, I say it out to people. That way I'm accountable, and I stick to it, because I believe my friend is my friend. Yeah. So that's the kind of person I am. It does take a village, but the thing is, it really, really, makes me happy. And it delights my soul when ladies are in the room and they're, excited about being nominated. You were nominated, and then you hear people tell you that they were on the verge of giving up, but they got an Eloy nomination and they're excited. Not that they won, no, they're excited that they were nominated. And that kind of like, makes you see that this journey is a worthwhile journey. We're not just talking about celebrating people that we know or people that are celebrities or socialites. We're talking about celebrating that lady that is doing exceptionally well in one field, that is in one, one area that nobody knows, but she's impacting that area. So, it's I don't even know how to describe it, but I love it. I love it because one way or the other, through that, we're transforming people's lives. Through that, we're able to say that, Madam, well done. We see you. You're doing well. Even if you're not you're not a multimillionaire or anything, but at least you're making an impact in the little way you can. Now, there have been different challenges, and there have been years where I've thought, oh my God, how are we going to do this? But like I said earlier, if I say I'm going to do it, trust me, I'm going to do it, come rain or sunshine. And guess what? With my Eloy journey, God has just been unbelievable. Times when I have thought to myself, oh my gosh, how is this going to happen? Like at the 11th, when they say that God comes at the 11th hour, so many times. There was a particular year, I think it was in 2017 or something, I actually broke down on stage. Because it takes a lot to do the Eloy Awards. And if you're not getting the sponsors that you require or the funds that you require to put together a great event, and I can't, the Eloys is the biggest award ceremony in Nigeria for women. It has to be great. It has to keep being great. So if you don't get that support and then you walk into a room filled with elegant, beautiful ladies, handsome men, all congregating together for this big award ceremony, and you've struggled to put that event together, you will break down. So I got on stage, as I was giving my speech, I just broke down in tears. And then another reason why I broke down in tears was because I was thinking to myself at that point that maybe this would be the last Eloy. But then again, I got on stage and I saw the crowd and I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't give this up. You have to keep doing this. And I was crying because I'm like, God, why are you making me do this when you know the challenges that I go through to be able to put this together? But then again, here we are. We keep the flag flying. And we keep it moving.
Wow, this is amazing. It's amazing because as much as possible, I always say that people see the glamorous part of everything. A lot of people don't see the work behind this, behind the stage, what you have to put in. They don't see all the times you've cried. They just know, the sacrifice of, she's the best, but they don't understand what it takes to get there. So I'm so glad you're sharing this. I'm so glad you're sharing this. Oh, guys, I just want to acknowledge everyone that joined. So many people are joining. Mulberry Collection, thank you. If I haven't, even if I don't mention you, I do appreciate you. I see you guys. Yes, they don't see behind the screens. Yes, they don't.
Yes,
but now
the scenes, they don't.
They don't. I'm going to ask you this. For you to go from, when we're growing up, there was such a thing as, these are the careers, like the main things. I was one of those children that just wanted to help people. So they're like, Lam, what do you want to become? I want to become a nurse, or I want to become a teacher. I want to become an artist. And why? I just want to make people happy, But of course, my dad would tell you, he's changed his mind now though. My dad would be like, why do you always choose things that will make you poor? Like, why can't you be a doctor or an accountant? And a lot of people from some particular, times, I won't mention which years, we grew up within those things. And you had a career like that people would say, oh yes, she's one of them. Could have as well have been, a doctor. And then you decide, what, I'm just going to move from that to, I will start making magazines and, getting people to buy them and, the way people think. So what was the reception like? Did they feel like you were just throwing away something absolutely fantastic? If they did, how did they get back on board?
So luckily for me, my parents are so liberal, whatever makes you happy. But in saying that, even till today, this COVID period, my dad was like, if you were a pharmacologist, you'd be looking for the medicine for COVID, won't you? You'll be testing people to see if medicines work, won't you? And I'm like, Daddy, please. He still talks about it like, do something in this field, do something in that field, bring that drug onto the market. So he still kind of talks about it. But my parents are very liberal. Whatever makes you happy, they would go for it. Even when I didn't get the grades for my A levels and I wanted to, go into pharmacology instead of going into, instead of doing my A levels again to go into medicine, they were like, if it's what you want to do, if it makes you happy, go for it. So, and when I started the magazine as well, they were very, very excited. I mean, my first office in Nigeria was my dad's office, and he was so excited to also, be doing his work and kind of like manage my work for me because I wasn't living in Nigeria. So, they're happy to just, whatever makes you happy, they're happy to go with it and push you as well. Obviously advising you, advising me in the process. But I'm so lucky and blessed with parents who are just, they just want to see you happy, doing legitimate stuff happily.
Not to worry, you might just make them proud. Who knows? A partnership might be in the horizon.
I am making them proud.
Yeah, you might even do something in pharmacology. Who knows? Maybe lifestyle of in their field or something. Who knows?
And I suppose my affiliation that's still with the sciences is with the cervical cancer awareness, because that's kind of like in the medical field, isn't it? It's in the sciences. Yes.
But what I would also ask you, in terms of that, what has the acceptance been like? Because for a lot of times, I think maybe in Africa, we can be a bit, I don't know, we can push back against things that we think, oh my God, it's not my portion. I'm not saying it's your portion. I appreciate the fact that we pray. You declare a thing is established. I know that, but I also understand that God gives medicine and some solutions so that you can, curb something. So what has it been like telling them that, it could happen to you? They're like, I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. So.
Yes, we do get people that rebuke it, and the Yoruba people that say "Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́" and type thing. But then again, we say that this is 100% preventable. In the case of I rebuke this, one woman dies every hour. So then again, how much rebuking can you really do? Just go and get tested. It doesn't hurt. I mean, yes, it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't hurt to get tested. And the thing is, if cervical cancer is caught early, it can be treated. It doesn't have to become full-blown cancer. But when it becomes full-blown cancer, it's when it's now cancer. But it has a pre-cancerous stage, which is what we're advocating for and telling people to go and get screened. One woman every hour. It can't be happening in this day and age, especially for a cancer that is preventable. Because once a woman is sexually active, she's been exposed to that virus. And all she needs to be doing, depending on which test she does, is going in for regular screening. And when abnormal cells are growing, she can be treated. But if she's not going for screening, the abnormal cells are growing, they're replicating. Further, however many years down the line, which is actually about 3 to 5 years or so down the line, she's coming up with proper cancer, which could have been avoided if she had gone for her screening.
Wow, I just hope more people listen as you guys do this, because it's almost like a crusade. It's a crusade.
It is. And we have our IMAC Smear It campaign coming up in September, where we're encouraging people to, tell every woman about cervical cancer, go and get screened, get children vaccinated, because there are vaccines now that can prevent cervical cancer from happening. It's just putting the information out there and getting people to go and get screened. It's uncomfortable, but I always say, what is 5 minutes of discomfort compared to a lifetime of being ill?
Yeah, or dying.
Or dying.
Yeah.
And dying, actually.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this also. Any pushbacks when it comes to, the fact that what you're doing is women-based? Because I know that people are like, okay, so why isn't the awards why isn't the magazine more of, of course, I know you can't please everybody, but did you have any such thing? And how did you just deal with it and still stay on purpose?
You're right. We always get that. Why is the Eloy's just for only women? Why is the magazine just for only women? But I say to them, there's so many other avenues out there for men to get, content as well. But the way we've kind of balanced it out. So when the Eloy Awards did the 10th year in 2019, last year, I think, the 10th year. No, 2018, when we did the 10th Eloy's, what we introduced then was the Man of the Year. So we introduced and we call it the He for She Award. So any man that advocates for women affairs, women empowerment, we give that award to that man. So that's the compromise with the Eloy Awards. And with the magazine, what we say is a man can also read the magazine, read the magazine to know what the women are thinking. And we also feature men in the magazine as well, male designers, we do editorials on men. So that's how we kind of like compromise. But, it is a women's magazine. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. We love you. Oh, Mazi. Okay, Mazi says, raining cats and dogs here. My screen is frozen, but at least I can hear you guys clearly.
Wow.
More green. No soya. Oh.
Thank you.
Enterprising Women Nigeria, thank you for joining. Now,
thank you.
In fact, this season is something else. Like, for some, people say, oh, it's unexpected. Even for people who knew maybe something was going to happen, they didn't know what exactly was going to happen. We didn't know it was going to
Did anyone really know what was going to happen?
Some of us knew terrible things were going to happen. That's for another season. Like last year, I can remember a sister of mine, like a spiritual sister of mine, we're praying throughout August, September, and every time that came up, we're like, oh Father, we cover our family with the blood of Jesus. Where it was, we didn't know. And she would call me back and say, sis, that's something terrible is gonna happen. 2020, we just have to pray for our family. And I kept telling my husband, I kept telling my people, keep pray on our prayer platforms. Well, that's for another day. Don't people should not call me prophet of doom. But we prayed about it. But even for those that by revelation knew things were going to happen, didn't know it was going to be this much. Didn't know we were going to have to stay at home. We didn't know it was going to be this bad. We didn't know it was going to be everywhere in the world. Now, my question, as a business person, how has this affected you? Because you have a brand. You're talking about, the program for September. Some of us are still thinking, oh my God, Eloy, I have to be there, even though we're far away at Abuja, but you're like,
you can still be there online. You can be there online.
You're already answering. So what has the effect been like on business, and then what's the way forward for you?
Right. So at the beginning, it was a shock, because if anybody told me that the skies would be closed, I would be like, yeah, right. How in the world? If anybody said it would be mandatory for people to sit in their houses, I would be, huh?
Why?
In which era? Exactly. But it's happened. And I'm of a different school of thoughts about COVID. Number one thing, okay, so to answer your question, number one is, yes, it was a shock at the beginning. But because since about 2016, we started gravitating towards digital media anyway. So this time for us is actually our time because a lot of people are going to our website, by the way, www.exquisitemag.com. A lot of people are going to our website. A lot of people are reading the digital version of the magazine. We stopped printing as often as we used to. Since 2016, we even have an app, the EM app on Google Play Store. So we've been gravitating towards technology and digital anyway. So this period for us, wherever we are in the world, we are still working. The only thing that has changed is instead of doing the one-to-one, face-to-face interviews, we now do them on Zoom, or we do them via voice notes, or we do them via WhatsApp video calls and things like that. So yes, it has changed, but really and truly, it's the way we're doing business that has changed. The business hasn't changed in terms of the vision and the mission of the company. It hasn't changed. And now with the Eloy Awards, we've started doing some webinars to keep the Eloys in the minds of people. And the only reason we started doing the webinars is because we founded the Eloy Awards Foundation in 2018 with the aim of helping helping small business owners, female business owners, to sustain their businesses. So what we've been doing is we've been doing a lot of trainings, face-to-face trainings and WhatsApp trainings anyway, since the foundation started. So the only thing we're doing differently now is running up to the conference and the awards in November. We're doing some webinars to now train not only people on the Eloy Sustainable Empowerment Program, but also, open it up to other business owners as well. So we're thriving. So help us God in this period. And the reason I also say that I'm from a different school of thought about COVID is the fact that us being at home, isolated or quarantined, whatever it is, it's a way for us to get to know ourselves better. I got to know myself even more. The kind of person that I'm becoming, the kind of person I want to become, looking through my goals to see what I wanted and what really didn't serve my higher purpose anymore. That was the period that I used to do that. And I believe that it was just a time in the world where people needed to slow down and rest. I'm sure that if you see people, you're thinking, you're looking good, or you're looking good, or they have rested. They have, you're in your house, you're eating, thank God, you're doing what you want to do, and you're resting. Even the ones that are working are doing, working at their own pace. And guess what? I have noticed that people at this period are even delivering more on their goals in terms of what they want to achieve with their work. My husband has been working from home since the whole COVID started, and he's actually even doing more from home. A lot of people that I have spoken to that work from home are like, I'm actually doing more work at home. But then again, they're relaxed. They're in their elements. They're in their environment. They're not driving up and down 24/7. They're not stuck in traffic. They're not skipping lunch. Do you understand what I mean? So I think it's a period, yes, there's the bad side to it. And God bless the souls that we have lost during this period. But there's a good side to it. And me, I tend to focus on the good side and focus on the positive. Because I also strongly believe that we have given COVID so much attention that it's now like, getting bigger and bigger. We need to stop talking about it and just, find a way to just practice every precaution that needs to be practiced. Wear your face shields, wear your face mask, no touching, no hugging, wash your hands, be as safe as possible and as careful as possible. And COVID will go away by the grace of God soon, but we just have to practice all the things that we need to do to make it go away.
We have to. You're so right. That's why I was trying not to laugh.
Thank you, Mazi, on discovery.
COVID can't stop someone like me, TEWA. Deleting metal, checking out the website ASAP.
Yes, so nothing can stop me and nothing should stop anybody. Guess what? In this COVID season, people are thriving. People are doing great things. So it's all a state of mind. It's the state of mind. If you have decided within yourself that, whatever the season is, I'm going to make it. You will make it. Opportunities will come your way. It's a state of mind, and you have to change your state of mind.
Yes, I think it's so amazing that you're sharing this. Like, if you have books in your spirit you've not written, this is the time. Like, absolutely. Like, there's so many things. For me, I was like, what exactly have we been doing? Like, if you're on a train that is just moving at a speed that you can't control it, we're not saying it's of course, COVID is a terrible thing, but it's also an opportunity for us to reflect and just think back and think, allow me, okay, now you're seeing the risk of what's happening around. What would you have wanted to be known for? What should you have achieved? What are the things you just thought, let's just put it aside one day, and then you realize that you've not done any of those things. So you might just you are absolutely right. So I'm just going to ask you one more question because we're almost out of time, even though I'm having fun. Okay. What would you say to that person who just wants to be, okay, they can't totally be like you, but they want to do the things that you do, like the magazine, for instance, and they're just coming to the realization right now with all this that's happening? What should they do?
I would say believe in yourself and have that I am not gonna give up attitude, because I have had times where I have wanted to give up. I've had personal relationship issues that have made me just like, oh God, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. But at the end of the day, when you know yourself enough to know why you're doing something, that why will keep you grounded. And that why, even in the middle of challenges, will keep you going. So I would say that believe in yourself, and most importantly, know yourself. Who are you? And guess what? The person you are last week will probably be different from the person you are today, because we're constantly changing. We're evolving. We're human being, being. So we're always being and becoming. So the thing is, you need to know yourself and believe in yourself. When you know yourself, you know your values, you know your principles, you know what you can do and what you can't do. And the things that you cannot do with your business, you bring other people in that will, fit the whatever is the puzzle, whatever it is. So know yourself. And the thing is, I have to say this as well. A lot of people don't decide, but you have to make that decision. Am I doing this or not? Make that decision, stick to it. I always say that you being indecisive is actually a decision, because you chose to not make a decision. You chose to be indecisive. So believe in yourself, know who you are. Know why you want whatever it is you want to do. If you want to do a magazine, if you want to start a magazine, know why you want to start it and decide. Make that decision and go for it. Stick to that decision.
Thank you so much.
Those are my points.
And I'm going to make you proud. I'm definitely bringing Ola magazine back, because anytime I want to give up on that, I'm like, now TEWA knows. TEWA knows. She's good. I don't know what she's going to say.
And trust me, the challenges will come, because I still face challenges. But I have that don't give up attitude, because I am God's highest form of creation. Whatever I want, I get. I might not get it immediately, but I will get it, because the idea was put into my head by God, and God's word to me are my ideas, and God's word can never go back to him void. That means that unless I decide that I don't want to do it, that's when it's not going to happen. But if I want to do it,
this is amazing, guys. I am. You see, what? They are sending you fire. I'm definitely going to share this so that people can watch on the page, because sometimes you just realize that the algorithm is funny, and then people now start, oh my God, I was trying to get in, and now they can get to watch it. Thank you so much, my sister. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Oh, guys, thank you so much, everybody that is watching right now, and those that will be watching finally on my page. Thank you, guys. Just learn a thing or two. Even I am taking some things away. I'm like, encouraged afresh. I'm going back to her page to go and read all the affirmations. I'm going to say it over and over to myself. She has resources. You can go to her page, on her bio. Check out, she's an author. She probably hasn't mentioned that. There's a lot of things.
Yes, I am.
Yes, she writes. Guys, if you want that thing, you just want, that voice to talk to you, like in the morning. The resources are there. Please just go to her page, guys. And if you guys are not following, you're welcome. If you guys are not following me at Ola Heavens, you have to follow me to know my fantastic guests. Isn't she fantastic? Now you know. I have absolutely wonderful guests. Okay, Mazi says, so happy the weather couldn't stop me from listening. Sing this dog. Don't leave me.
That's a good one.
That's a very good one. Okay, sis. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, your screen is still frozen. Don't worry. I'm glad you're here too. Thank you guys for watching. Absolutely fantastic. I think our next interview, which is on Tuesday, we'll be having someone I call Uncle. I have to call him, but the brand is known, Adebayo Jones. Yes, I fondly call him Uncle. He's a UK-based designer. He's one of those dons when it comes to the fashion design in Europe, and it's going to be right here on Inspired by Others on Tuesday. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it, guys. So this is where I say goodbye, bye-bye, adios. I don't know which other language you can use. Thank you, Mazi. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a fantastic night and stay safe.